I'm playing Lee Hinden 2. Apparently, I've played him twice before. And he's 2-0. That's not good. Wow. So this game we were both 1500 provisional? Did we play in like 960 or something? What's going on here? It was 3-check. Oh, okay. So I played him in a Mari Chess 3-check arena. So I guess he's a Mari Chess viewer. I'm guessing his delay in his first move was also him trying to figure out when we played each other before. So we've never played each other in real chess. We've only played each other in 3-check. Slightly different from chess. Okay, so we've got a d4 c4 game. I'm pretty happy. I'd love to get a King's Indian. Last one of these videos I did, we got a Grunfeld. So it'd be nice to mix it up, get a King's Indian. I prefer facing the King's Indian. I feel like I know it better. I'm extraordinarily tired today. I didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night. So if I play badly, I will blame it on that. And probably this video will never make it to YouTube. So. But so far I've played perfect. Now when I'm black, I like to castle here and invite e5. But most players play d6 to prevent e5. But black can castle. Okay, so he plays d6. So bishop e2, knight f3. I mean, I think they're virtually the same. Main line, King's Indian so far. I think h3 is also some move. Probably there's other moves I'm not aware of. If I win this game, I can maybe feel good about, like, I'm pushing back towards 2100. I don't like being under 2100. I don't like it. I do like that I'm ahead on the clock. I'm surprised he's taking this much time in the openings. This has been very standard. So knight bd7, I don't know this move so well. I know it's fine. That's sort of a flexible move. Like, he can play c5 and we'll get sort of a Benoni structure, or he can play e5 and keep it in the King's Indian. The main line would just be castling. And then a lot of times they play e5 and then knight c6. So I don't know what he intends. I assume bishop e2 is fine against anything. And now, yeah, I guess he'll either make one of these breaks or castle. Okay, he castles. I think I'll do the same. When I'm black in a King's Indian, sometimes I don't like to castle until white does, just because sometimes white likes to get real aggressive, and I don't necessarily like that. But I think that's theoretically not so sound, but at this level, you know, aggression can be hard to deal with. Okay, so surely c5 or e5 now. I guess he could play like c6, but I don't know. Sort of hard to believe. So against either c5 or e5, I mean, against e5, I'm probably playing d5. Just keep this bishop sort of locked up. And he can't play knight c5 right away because b4 would happen. So if I play d5, probably he should play a5 and stop b4. I do like this Gligorich system with bishop e3, but that is when the knight is on c6. So I'm not sure if there's any big difference here with the knight on d7. I mean, I would think... Yeah, I don't know. Something tells me pushing is the best move. Possibly taking is also fine, but I mean, pushing, you know, makes sense strategically, just trying to keep this bishop bad, so we'll just go with that. And I have a lot of center space. I mean, computer is usually gonna like white here in like any King's Indian, but so yeah, a5 I think is what would make the most sense. And usually the way you try to kick the knight from c5 is to play b3, then a3, then b4. After a5, that is. If you play a3 right away, they just clamp down. Well, I guess maybe he can't do that here, since I do have two guys on that. Well, I mean, I guess a5, and if a3, you could just plop the knight here, and b4 isn't working because of the pin. You know, he takes, and then my pawn's pinned to my rook. So yeah, a5, I mean, I could go for this b3 sort of slow plan to get the pawn to b4, or I could do something else. Other plans, I think, would probably be like h3, which just tries to keep pieces out of g4. And I can get the bishop to e3, the queen to d2, and sort of just have a pleasant position. So I'm not sure, if he plays a5, I'm not sure which one of those plans is better to do first. I mean, this plan involves developing pieces, so probably I should favor that plan. This plan is just sort of like kicking him back and gaining space, but neglects development. Okay, so he picks a different plan. He's going to play f5. I think f5 is not actually a big problem for me because my knight getting to e6 looks really nice. So I don't really feel like I have to react to that. Bishop e3 would feel sort of natural because the only reason I wouldn't have played bishop e3 before is because of knight g4. But now knight g4 can't be played. However, if I play bishop e3 and f5, knight g5 happens, then f4 is tempoing me. I mean, I do have the Zwischenzug knight e6 there. But I'm sort of worried that this tempo on the bishop might be problematic for some reason. But what else to do? I mean, I could just play h3, which is slow, but I don't get h3 anymore because I mean, there's nothing really threatening to come here. I could also just play b4 and just sort of get out in front. Against b4, he might still play a5. And it looks sort of like a bayonet attack. Okay, I want to calculate this bishop e3 line. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. It should be 3 f5, knight g5, f4, knight e6, queen somewhere. And then, like, I move my bishop. That's a little unfortunate. b4, a5, I think, is a good reply. I could try to put my knight here. The knight makes a fair amount of sense on d3. This plan's hitting pretty fast, but yeah, I don't want to go back because if this happens, I think I want to have knight g5. Okay, I think I've spent enough time. Okay, let's just go bishop e3. I'm sort of banking on the fact that f5 is not good because of knight g5. And if f5 is no good, then I don't really have much to worry about with this move. I didn't like b5 or b4 a5. Now I can play b4, and if a5, I would just play a3 because this exchange my rook is defended. The bishop on the starting square, the rook was unprotected, so b4, a5, a3, he just takes. And I can't take back because of the pin on the rook. Now, if he's not playing f5 here, then this move didn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, I think a5 is still a move for him and try to get the knight here. But I think, you know, I think it's pleasant for white. I mean, I just have more space and, you know, all my pieces have good squares. I can still go for this, you know, sort of slower plan to kick him back later. He could try h6 to prepare f5 so that this knight g5 isn't happening. But I'm just going to play queen d2, and then he's going to have to defend that pawn. So he's creating a bit of weakness doing that. He could do it, like h6, queen d2, king h7. Then maybe the knight should reroute, because the g5 square is probably never going to be available. I got to be careful, though. Queen d2 could get my bishop trapped. Yeah, actually, I mean, let's say he makes like a nothing move. Like, can I even play queen d2, or then is f5 working? Because f5, knight g5, f4, you know, the Zwischenzug, the queen moves, but then the bishop's cooked. So maybe I have to switch plans a little bit, and I can go for this reroute. But first, he has to make a move. Luckily, he's thinking even more than me. That's rare. Usually, I'm the one doing all the thinking. Okay, he did play f5. Okay, so I wasn't afraid of that now because of here. So What's he scheming? Knight g5. Maybe he moves the knight then? I mean, my experience is that even if you end up losing a pawn on e6, that position is pretty good for white. I mean, I suppose I should analyze takes also. If he takes with the rook, my knight has a great square. I don't think he'll do that. He'd probably take with the pawn. Which, you know, then his king's getting opened up. Maybe my bishop can come in. Maybe it's not such a bad idea to exchange first. That does allow this bishop to maybe get sort of good. If he's able to get e4 in. Yeah. I think knight g5 is still good. I think so. And if he plays knight c5, I guess I can play b4. He can trade by taking the pawn on e4, but then I'll end up with a knight blockading on e4, and that'll be a great square for the knight, and it keeps the pawn fixed on e5. So I don't think knight c5 is actually helping him much. He could go knight df6 and just be ready to chop here. Again, my experience is that this and getting the bishop pair is still usually pretty good. Like, I mean, in some cases, I might even have just a way to get back my pawn immediately. Okay, that's never true because, you know, my pawn will be here. But like queen d5 could be some idea. It'd be great if I could get the bishop on this diagonal, which, I mean, maybe I can by, you know, playing c5. I mean, I think knight df6 looks like the best move to me. Okay, right on cue. He must be stream sniping me, even though it's not being streamed. f4 is also a move I should really consider. I mean, again, we're sort of allowing black to open his bishop. Queen b3? Start getting some power on that diagonal. c5? Very logical looking move. f3? f3 is very thematic. I think maybe I'll just do that and let the bishop come back to f2. That looks very normal. I'm sort of committing myself to doing this. Like, I assume he will play f4. So I'm sort of claiming that even if I'm down a pawn, I'm going to get some play on the queen side. Hopefully it's true. Who knows? Only time will tell. Speaking of time, I'm actually doing okay on it. Unusual. He's played quite slow. He's played 10 moves and he's used about 10 minutes. Probably not a good pace in a 15-minute game. I mean, my pace is actually not great, but since I'm moving faster than him, it sort of is fine. So, I mean, one positive if this happens is that I get the d5 square. But if he has a knight sitting on f6, then, you know, he probably just trades it off. But how's he going to force me to do this unless his knight moves? Right? I mean, he could play h6, but then, you know, I mean, I guess, like, it's a King's Indian. Like, he probably wants to shove all these pawns anyway. Okay. I'm very, very interested in playing c5. I mean, he wants to just kick me and then I mean, I'll just lose a pawn. I'm still not so sure that that's bad. Like, c5 and getting the bishop here is looking pretty fun. Knight here also threatens this pawn, for what it's worth. I really like c5. It just feels right. Wait, c5 takes... Maybe him just putting a knight here is sort of annoying. Like, I wanted c5 bishop here. c5 takes bishop there, but then knight d6 is pretty annoying. b4 still seems pretty normal too. Maybe that's the way to go. Position's not for the faint of heart. Probably I'll end up down a pawn one way or another. Like, actually just this right away may work. Okay, he just gives me a kick instead. Well, I'm not going to h3. So I guess I'm going here. Okay, now, I mean, this is what we want. We're sort of a ways off from it. Okay, let's get the rook going. Sort of x-raying c4, getting ready for this to maybe be a thing one day. He's gonna probably push over here. Yeah, I want to play c5. I want to move this knight. I want to play bishop c4. I got plans. King h8 could maybe be a good move. I also like my time advantage. Okay. I think that's the wrong pawn to be pushing. But, I mean, I guess he's going to push all of them. Okay, let's get c5. And I think I want to recapture with the pawn. I don't want this knight popping up on d6. Yeah. Let's just create the threat, I guess. Is there a better square for my knight? I like this one. Oh no, my pawn? Yeah, that makes sense. Hmm. This bishop could be useful here. Maybe I should even play h3. That might slow him down a bit. Yeah. A lot of times, they can sacrifice their bishop on h3. But since he already gave away that bishop, it's going to be hard for him to do it. My time advantage sort of dissipated there. I don't hate the position, though. He could play g4 anyway, sack a pawn, but then, you know, he might get hoisted by his own petard if I can get over to the h-file. It's, I mean, it's scary. I'm not going to say it's not. g4 probably is just fine. Because, like, takes this guy's loose. Okay. In view of that, maybe let's just defend that guy. I guess also this pawn maybe could have been taken. Let's just defend. I was previously thinking about rerouting this way, getting more pressure on d6, but knowing what I know now, might want to defend here. Unfortunately, that, you know, for the moment rules out bishop c4. c6 feels wrong. I can take and go bishop here and get a pin going. Gonna try to play kind of fast. He'll probably bring the rook over. And then I could be the one hoisted by my own petard. Problem is moving the queen moves away from g4. Okay, I'm gonna go here. Idea if g4 happens, the queen could turn into an attacking piece on h4. Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna come down to time pressure, though. He still needs to sort of get out of this pin. Okay, he accomplishes that. And he's lined up here. Let's repin everything. Now that guy's loose. Okay, that makes sense. Here? Again, got some alignment here. Pieces are so weird. G4 is still a thing to be feared. Let's just move this guy. I don't know if it actually does anything too great, but I want to be able to move the knight. I didn't want the pawn to hang. I mean, I'm still scared of g4. He seems reluctant to play it. Yeah, he wants to play g4. It's okay. It's hard to not play this. I don't like trapping my bishop over there. Wait, here is that it? That's kind of a weird move. Maybe just weird enough to confuse him. I want to go here, and then the queen has to stay on the knight. I mean, I was also thinking of just taking the knight. Yeah, let's just take it. I guess here first. I'm pretty scared. Somebody's gonna get, mated. I guess at least this knight defends this pawn. It feels so sus, but what do you do? I'm gonna glue it all together, hopefully. He's gonna go here. Okay. I'm gonna run. I'm running. We have a runner, folks. How great would it be to get the knight here? I could have some. Okay, that makes sense. Let's get rid of a pair. I think he wants to go here, but that might not actually be good. Take. Have to take with the rook, and then my knight can come here. Hit a lot of things. Because, yeah, you got to save this. This is also hanging. Oh, wait, he can go here because the rook's defending that. Okay. That was sort of maybe not the smartest. Here? I really need to use this bishop. Okay, let's just go back. Put pressure here, keep pressure here. Now the rook's sort of tied down. Yeah. Maybe I should just take this draw. I don't want to. I do not want to. I don't know how to try to win. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to try to win when I have these pawns. I mean, I don't know what white's winning plan or black's winning plan should be. It wouldn't shock me if he took it. Okay, he's just gonna take it. Okay, yeah, I mean, I don't think I can, there's no way I can be better. Like, I mean, this bishop's pretty bad. But I mean, opposite color bishops, you know? And yeah, he's got some stuff he's got to keep defending. I think it's probably just zeros, but we'll see. G5. I mean, I saw G5 was legal. I was somewhat afraid to play it. I mean, I guess maybe the read on G5 is like, who cares if I lose it? Yeah. And also, like, he wants to stay on the knight so that after knight d7, he doesn't have to keep the bishop. You know, he can play bishop g7 and defend the e5 pawn. But if he moves laterally, then my rook can come to the h file. So I can try to maybe get a little more active that way. And even if like I said, even if I lose the g4 pawn, like, who cares? I mean, I guess it's like, you know, end game odds because it is a protected passer. It doesn't seem really dangerous though. Like, you know, it's not ever going to get support from another pawn really unless I magically recapture like this. And the king's already right in front of it. Okay, so the computer analysis is running now. Looks like the computer did favor black for a lot of the middle game, which, I mean, black was up a pawn. So that sort of makes sense, I guess. I'm not really sure what I did wrong. It was never a very serious advantage either way. So I guess let's start from the beginning. Let's open up the book here. This is all very normal. And this is the first sort of... I mean, it is an uncommon move. Like, there's almost 40,000 games in the Lichess database, and this has been played 40 times. So 1 in 1,000 at the master level. And it even says rare defenses. So, like, I guess... Oh, I forgot. You can't see that on this scene. So, but yeah, it calls it King's Indian Defense, normal variation, rare defenses. So it is rare, I guess. Bishop e2 is what most people are playing. Computer likes Queen c2 or Bishop e3 a little better, but okay, probably doesn't. You know, I wouldn't trust the Lichess computer on openings at low depth. So, yeah, and then he castled, which makes sense. In master games, they're usually playing e5 here. And then castles is good in e5. Okay, so I thought maybe he would play for c5, but e5. Wow, it wants bishop e3. And that is what most people play. I didn't really have a strong reason to not play it. I just thought that d5 should be good. So let's look at that line. So I'm sort of used to this position, except for with this knight here. Then it's just a Gligorich system, which I enjoy playing. I wasn't sure what the difference was, and maybe the difference is that Black's knight is worse. Like, it's, instead of being on the third rank from his perspective, it's on the second rank, and it's blocking this bishop. So, I mean, I guess I didn't make this judgment during the game, but maybe my judgment should have been that this is an improved Gligorich, which is already fine for white, like better for white. So yeah, in the normal Gligorich with the knight here, I hope I'm not mixing up the line. I hope I'm right. I could just be completely wrong. But knight g4 would be the thing. And then bishop g5 would be the thing. And then f6 would be the thing. And then bishop h4. So it looks like here they're playing bishop d2. And computer approved. I don't know what the difference is. Yeah, I got nothing. I don't think I'm going to get too bogged down in that. I don't think it matters too much at my level. And what I played is like sort of fine. I mean, the computer says it's giving up a little bit of eval, but again, I'm not going to worry about it too much. As I suspected, a5 is the computer's recommendation. It's also giving knight c5 right away. Which, yeah, I didn't think about during the game, but clearly black can do it because there's a threat on e4. So there's no time for b4 anyway. Okay, he went back, which I did suspect was not the best. It's not bad, but yeah, now it's giving half pawn or better to white again. And knight e1 has been played. I did consider that, but then I decided I wanted to go for this, which may have been foolhardy. I'm not sure. Bishop g5 has also been played at the master level. b4 has been played. Bishop e3 is what I played, and it's been played once before. And okay, actually there was a transposition. So there's 2 games in the database. White won both of those games, and f5 was played both times. And they did both take. So I thought about taking, and I just decided I didn't want the e-pawn to be mobile. I thought it was really nice to have that pawn fixed. The computer doesn't care. It says knight g5 and e takes f for exactly the same eval. So, okay, good. And then I sort of expected knight df6. The computer actually prefers knight c5. So the knight c5, my idea was to play b4. And it seems like maybe that's not so good. f4. Okay, I did not super calculate that. But that is a move I should calculate. That's clearly an idea. And yeah, if we start chopping... Oh, it wants to take the knight. Okay. Yeah, this bishop's kind of weird, isn't it? And like f3 is probably not going to feel good at some point. Yeah, okay. So that was a bit of a miscalculation, but luckily we didn't go into that line. It still wants to take, so I don't know what my... I'm not sure exactly why this was such a big misjudgment. It wants to take and play f4. Okay, so let's just look at that line real quick, because what I would be afraid of is e4. And the computer just says thanks for the square. Okay. So I was just always thinking that this bishop was going to be too good, but the computer does not agree. It thinks it can manage the bishop. Okay. That's sort of a difficult judgment, I think. But okay, what I did is still, I mean, we're still sort of okay. I mean, it doesn't love f3. It says it's about equal now. But then it starts to prefer white a little bit more here. b4 was absolutely the right move. So, okay, I mean, I was nervous about giving up the pawn in this way, and the computer just wholeheartedly agrees. It wants queen c2 or queen b3. Now it's suggesting rook b1. Queen b3 is sort of hard for me to... I mean, maybe the judgment I need to make is that queen trades are going to sort of be good for me. Because my center's better, and, you know, in the long term, black's probably going to end up with a weak pawn on one of these squares. Because I'm going to play c5. Something's going to give in this pawn chain. But I mean, queen b3, if I'm ever trading queens, you know, do I really want my pawns doubled? Maybe I do. Maybe the computer thinks I do. What I did's not terrible. c5 was correct. It wants to take. Okay, so I wanted to threaten stuff right away. So this is actually one of the biggest moments, biggest advantages I have. It's a pawn and a half if I take on d6. I mean, I saw it was legal. I thought... I don't know what I thought. Because now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, why didn't I do that? Because if he takes with the pawn, the d6 pawn is weird. It's like backward on an open file. And I have good control of d5. So yeah, taking with the pawn looks bad. And if he takes with the knight, then I have this bishop c5 idea again. So I don't think I saw the bishop c5 pinning this knight concept at this point in the game. So it actually says he should take with the pawn. And then it gives knight b5. Or a4. I mean, like, I agree this is good for white. Okay, I mean, knight b5 we're again threatening knight c or bishop c4. I guess that's the thing, is we're gonna control d5. We're gonna put something on d5 because it's giving knight b5, bishop c4 is the threat, so king h8, similar to the game, and then it was giving bishop c4 anyway. And the queen moves. Okay, I mean, yeah, this is also hanging. But I'm thinking at some point we're gonna swing this knight in here, and we're gonna, yeah. I assume. Okay, so I didn't really consider this enough. Maybe also I just got a little too married to this threat. It hates h3. Okay. I was chicken. I mean, yeah, these moves make a lot of sense. I didn't think about this, but yeah, okay, we're getting a little weird here, but yeah, I mean, if I don't get mated, the endgames are going to be good for me because this pawn's kind of bad. And if we go here, oh wait, I actually wanted to. I'm sorry. What am I looking at? Yeah, I mean, I guess I am looking at this. Can still take or go here. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I did sort of have instant regret of h3 because I realized g4 was still possible um, because of this. So I'm a little lucky he didn't play g4. But this was basically the big inflection point in the game. White was sort of always a little bit better up until here. And then it's black's a little better, and black was better most of the rest of the game. It wants to throw. I don't think I even thought about throwing in bishop c4. I did sort of think c6 was bad, but I'm wrong. It looked a little weird to me. Yeah. Yeah, it was just scary because he basically sort of stopped my queenside play, and you know, he doesn't really have to rush with g4. It's gonna hit, you know. It wants to just go knight a4 right away. Oh, okay. He can't even take the pawn because he's got problems here. So if he takes the pawn, then yeah, knight c5, and the rook needs to defend the knight, and you can't go there, you know. So he's gonna end up losing an exchange. Although the computer doesn't even do that. The computer just goes here. I did think about that move at some point and try to like get control of the d file. Yeah, so I was just a tempo late here. This was a pretty weird move. The computer didn't hate it. It was thinking about it at some point. I should take first. My whole idea was I wanted to just remove this defender of g4. I was hoping to make it a little harder for him to play, which sort of ended up happening. So why is it so much better to take first? I would sort of always be thinking about taking with the h pawn because but like, you know, this thing is just never like super working. Well, if I take, can he even take back? Because if he takes back, then check. I guess the knight can block, but man, that's looking pretty sus. Maybe I guess that's what I missed, is he can't really take here. I mean, it says he's surviving, but yeah, I guess, yeah, bishop here. And we might have some weird threat of like this. I don't know. I don't know if any of that's actually good. I guess it's not because the computer's moving the knight anyway. So this isn't really a thing. Okay, so that's what I missed, is that actually having this bishop putting pressure here, you know, basically makes it to where he can't take. I mean, he's not dead, but it's not good for him to take back. So it makes total sense to take then. So actually, I sort of gave away this bishop. I thought it was just sort of like in limbo here, but it's actually doing sort of a good job. Okay, and then this was about the extent of his advantage. Even though he gave back the pawn, but I mean, yeah. Not too hard to believe. And then here it says queen c3 is the only good move. It wants to defend laterally. And also maybe that gives the king like an escape route. Maybe. I mean, there's like this, so I don't know. Man, b6 is a hard move to play because it just feels like, you know, it feels like the wrong side of the board. I mean, I totally agree that white shouldn't be grabbing a pawn. Like, you know, probably white needs to focus on the king side. But it's just funny that it's playing like all queenside moves with black, which is so counterintuitive. It's playing b6, knight c4. But yeah, I mean, that's a problem. I didn't see knight c4. Okay. So that's why it's kicking the knight, is because it doesn't want the knight to come here, I assume. Yeah, and then running was good. And he probably shouldn't. Okay, he should trade queens. Actually, it's the only good move. Shocking. I won't stick with the king. I thought that was like the weirdest of all the moves. Like disconnecting the rook. I don't get king takes. I don't get it. Okay. And then he should do this, which I never even saw in the game, and I guess he didn't either. But that's like his only real way to get an advantage. Or this. Somehow, like, both players were blind to that. And then now it says I'm better again. And then I had a couple moments where I could have actually been, like, much better. It's probably always this G5 thing. Yeah, I saw G5 was legal. I just, like, sort of talked myself into believing that it didn't do anything. But it does something. It kicks the rook off the H file. It gives my knight a square on F6. So yeah, it does stuff. I mean, it might be a winning move. It says rook e6 is the only half decent move. Okay, I mean, I guess if we go here, we're just allowing bishop h5, which I didn't see clearly. Wait, is bishop h5 even good? Because this is hanging. What do we do here? Here. You can't take my pawn, because your king's sort of in trouble. Also, your knight's in trouble. Wow. So I think if you take with the bishop, I'm taking the knight? Is that right? Yep. And then I win more material. Man, so I actually had some chance. Man, I was like poo-pooing this G-pawn. I was like, who cares about it? And this guy could have been the hero. But I didn't give him his due. So yeah, you can't go here. So you have to play rook e6. And then yeah, even just like here. And what are we doing? You got problems. I mean, at least now this isn't working. Because he can take and there's this pin. Rook d3. I mean, rook d3 is such a hard move. I would be thinking this all day. Which also is pretty good. Man, this is weird. Weird stuff. And it says you take it. I'm scared with either color, because, like, taking it makes, you know... Okay, it wants to go here first, but I assume we are taking this at some point. I assume. Are we not? Are we not taking it? It says we're not. Like, I would be scared. I would be scared of these pawns. But the computer just calculates and says white wins. Alright, this is nuts. Here we can take it. Okay, yeah. Well, what happens if you don't take the pawn? What if you just, like, act normal? I guess you got some problems with your bishop and your king. Let's say he... Yeah, checking doesn't even make sense. The king wants to go up the board anyway. And then it's going here to keep the king out, but, like... Okay, I mean, the bishop's still hanging. Oh, yeah, okay, let's attempt to save the bishop. I assume rook h1. I assumed right for once. And then your king's doing sort of double duty. Because actually, if your king defends the bishop, I think we just take the bishop, and then we play f7. Okay, we're f7 right away, yeah. Wow, man. So look at this. Look at these pawns. I was, like, doubting these pawns, and they ended up they ended up contributing. That's pretty creative. So that's disappointing. I saw the idea that could have been winning, but I didn't analyze it deeply enough. I didn't appreciate that this rook really wants to be on, like, this is how you find the move. The rook is stopping this, right? So like the rook wants to be on the H file. The rook's also the only thing defending the knight. So that means the rook needs to be right here. So G5. Like, I mean, that's all you need just to find it as a candidate move. And then I guess, you know, you should analyze from there, but okay, anyway, and then I didn't do that, and then we repeated, and it could have happened again. So it was like the same position. Except I think, was it the exact same position, or did the king go to a different square? Okay, it's the exact same position. So, okay, anyway, interesting game. I can't be too upset about a draw. I guess it was a fair result. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel to, you know, watch future videos and stuff. Okay, see you next time. Bye.